Hi, I'm filming this in reverse. I initially filmed it all and then built the Ruddervator and attached to the Stabilator and the like. But I've gone back over my footage and it's way too long. And I don't want to produce a 20-minute, 25-minute video log on something that could probably take 10-15 minutes. So so the reason I'm refilming it is because I almost made a mistake, and I just want to go through how I steered myself in a direction of that, so I can show whomever is watching so they don't make the same mistake that I potentially did. So I'll just flip the camera around and look at it. Now hopefully this is going to be bright enough. I've got sun coming through here now in the afternoon. I could close the roller shutter, I think, if it probably helps, which I will. Just drop that down a little bit to there. Hopefully that is better. So initially I'm building the right hand Stabilator and subsequent Ruddervator, and I was trying to establish how the hinge would fit more so to the Stabilator side in lieu of how it fits to the Ruddervator side. And that's where my problems started, because I was looking at this drawing, and if you see this sort of hinge, you'll see it has the end pieces without the tab on the end. So I'll just see if I can get a hinge over here. So if I can just show you that hinge there, that has a little tab cut on the end of it. So basically it's sort of showing me the hinge like that. So hinge, went out the way. One end of the hinge is like that, and the other end is like this. Looking up, and you'll see a dimension here of 31.8 back from the hinge. That's just the way I'm initially looking at it. On another drawing, I've got a dimension here of 25.4, and I'm thinking, okay, like sticky outy bit there of the hinge, what's going on? So I assumed at the time this was a plan view of both Stabilator and Ruddervator. And I'm thinking, Sonex, look, you've made a little bit of a drawing error here. It's nothing to write home about, but you're missing the top skins of the Stabilator. That was my initial response to Kerry. And I was trying to word that as best I could. So Sonex happily replied within a day or so, or 2 days, let's call it a day, but for our hour difference over here in Australia. And I totally understand Kerry's response. It was confusing even when I read back myself. So yes, I confused the issue to start with. He did say to me, he gave me a bit of an idea how to send emails rather than send pictures and that sort of stuff. Just relate to a drawing number, what you're looking at, and go from there. So I then sent that email off after I had gone with his advice. But I had since looked at the drawings and I found enough detail to carry on. So I found a dimension here of obviously 1150.1, which gave me the dimension of the Ruddervator. So I was able to start basically cutting all these components, fitting the ribs and the like off this drawing, and proceed with it. When that email came back again, he said to me, look, I just want to tell you that both dimensions are correct. So I then came out to the shed, bearing in mind that I'd already made this Ruddervator. I'd already cut the hinge. Let's go to another drawing. I'd already cut this hinge to the 1104 dimension. There were the little sticky outy bits, so I basically cut the hinge straight through like that out of the stock lengths. That would be the off cut of that hinge, if that makes sense. And then the penny dropped. What I was doing that was wrong. I was misinterpreting this drawing as being the top side of the Stabilator. So plan view looking down, and I thought, yeah, I can live with a little bit of a missing skin error on that. But it's just the Stabilator flipped over. So it's on its head, I guess, if you will, looking from underneath how the hinge would look if you sort of looked up in this direction, just showing you how it sort of positions off to that. That's my best interpretation of this detail. And that's how I initially built it. But I fell into the rabbit hole of couldn't see the forest for the trees because I was too focused on these dimensional errors initially, and that's the reason for the emails, to the point that I'd already committed and built it after I got that response from Kerry. Now, I've since written back another email to Sonex and just admitted that I'm being super cautious and an idiot, and I'm really sorry for sending all these emails. And Kerry politely came back and said, hey, it's all good. You can more or less write to us all the time. You know, we have all the time in the world for builders, and don't panic if you're making, errors, or don't panic if you're asking stupid questions. Just get them off to us. Keep them nice and sweet, simple, and we'll respond. Even if you've got 1,000 questions, we'll respond. So I thank Sonex for that, and particular Kerry. It never doubted me for one moment that they wouldn't come back like that. So again, just to reiterate, I've now gone back over my footage from the clip of the YouTube ready to post today, and it was just too long. So I've bitten the bullet, come up to the shed tonight. Just want to redo the beginning of it. I haven't taken anything out that I have previously said. In fact, I've probably given a better account of it, because bearing in mind that the original footage was shot when I was 100% convinced that Sonex were wrong. And I just want to say they weren't. I was. So I won't flip the camera over to the left and show you all the finished stuff. That's in videos to come. I'm hoping that I'm not waffling on too much, and if you think I am, or if you want more information, just let me know, and I'm happy to change it. Again, this is an account for me, and that's what it's for. And I also, want to hopefully get across to those that are thinking of building an aeroplane, or in particular home built, or in this instance a Sonex, to see what it's like, and I hope to continue doing these videos all the way through, because, as I said in the very, very beginning, there's some very talented people out there, and I've learnt from them a great deal. So anyway, I'll sign off now, and hopefully edit this tomorrow and post it, and all should be good. Talk with you soon. Thank you. The Ruddervator skin is cut to length. I've marked all the positions for the pilot holes for the tip rib, the root rib, just pull that out for a second, the root rib, and the two independent ribs that go through. Now, Sonex give you some dimensions from here to here and from here to here, and they do actually line up with I'll just roughly position that, which is roughly there. So if you look through there, they do actually line up with that rib there. There's nothing there, and there's another one there, through there. Now, I was almost ready to start drilling these pilot holes on the top side, and I had it sitting on a portion of bench that was probably a little bit twisted. Now, I'm going to try to do this one-handed, but if it's twisted the bench, you can actually see how this rudder skin is that you can twist it, you know, 10, 15, 20 mil, and that could have been disaster, because I could have piloted all of these, and obviously once I put them all in, it would have been sort of piloted, twisted. It would have been a domino effect basically. So I've just checked this end of the bench. It's beautiful and sort of level across there. If I sort of hold this down fast there, perhaps do the two end clicos on the ends, maybe here, and then maybe up here, the tops. I think, you know, that'll sort of hold it nice and fast. Now what I've done here is just double checked whether I'm going to have enough with the markings out. I've just laid that over there like that, if I can get that in there with one hand. My lord. Anyway, you get the general idea. I just wanted to double check that there was enough meat in these ends here and not go sort of too close to the edges, and I've done that at this end as well. You can just sort of see that it's gonna be okay. You can see that. That's it. Hopefully this video is not too busy with all the equipment around the place, and you get the gist of what I'm trying to achieve here. I've set up a small jig on the bench drill. The center of that drill bit is the nominal dimension as noted on the drawings. I think it's about 6.35 millimeters. Located some center lines on each of these little sticky addy bits here on the hinge, just as a reference, I guess. So I mean, I'm not going to go too far wrong. I think if it's a little bit either side of that line, but let's just say that it will be the right side. As it slides along the jig, it'll be the slack will, well, the big floppy bit of the end of the hinge will be taken up on the timber there, and I think it's just a lovely way of ensuring that the distance between the back of the hinge and the hole are pretty much spot on the money. I have drilled the hinge out on the bench press. You can just make out those pilot holes through there. I've temporarily placed back the other half of the hinge. You may recall that I told you I cut this hinge as per the drawings, but we're going to end up having the ends offset, which makes the top piece of this longer. So this is practically useless. I've just put that in there and the hinge pin in as a locating tool, just to keep it all in line. As well as I've bitten the bullet and I've made myself a little 1.5 mil packer. I told you before I only had 2 mil packers, and I was going to fluff it a little bit. Sorry, so I've made this 1.45, just had a 1 mil packer and added a bit of tape onto it till I got it out to the right height. That'll slide on there as a straight edge. I will then raise this hinge up to that point. You can see that raising up to that guarantees me that the hinge will be 1.45 from the top of this. That'll give me the ability to do a couple of locatings in here and here, and you know, just periodically all the way along, just to keep all that right. Because as you can see, that it's even though that's not hinged, that hinge is really easy to move. And if you were really remiss and just threw it in any old way, you'd have this hinge that's going to be doing wavy things, and you just never know. It might put a lot of stress being like that. I'm sure they could take a bit of beating, these things, but if it's meant to be straight and level, then let's put it in straight and level. I've just weighted down this Ruddervator as well, just to keep it level on the plane. You may remember I spoke about getting the twist out of this thing. The reference lines at the end do line up now, and that tells me that it's not out of wind or twisted. Hopefully it will work. I'm going to commit to drilling this all the way through now, and I'll come back to you when it's all done. Yeah, come back soon. I've just put a couple of locating clecos in this hinge, and it works absolutely beautiful and free. All that distance along the top there is pretty much this, well, it's accurate, and having that work free without any sort of grinding noises or anything like that, it makes me one little happy chappy. So I'm going to flip this over now, do all the ribs on the other side, do these down through here, do the rest of the clecos through it, and it's basically ready for upsizing, hopefully. Hinge on there you can actually see, which does clearly show that. I know that I previously misinterpreted a drawing, and if you sort of like look at this end elevation, you'll actually see that that hinge is finishing there, and you come across to here, and that hinge pin is finishing just shy of that as well, which is the 31.8. This is built correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upsize all this to copper clecos. I've already removed some clecos off the Stabilator because I'm running out of clecos. I know I've bought the right amount that they say. I'm then going to come around, or turn this around, fit the top second part of the hinge from the Ruddervator to this side, because this is actually upside down at the moment. I'll just quickly turn that around. Very hard to do one-handed. Probably should have a GoPro strapped to the top of my head or something, like a night light, miner's light. Anyway, I'm not going to do that. And I know I mentioned before about I was on the air of caution about ensuring that this back part of the Stabilator was feeling a bit sort of loose. Well, it does, but I think if you sort of ensure that you have your copper clecos all the way through each rib, and then sort of hopefully remove all these silver clecos, lay the hinge pin underneath all of this, clamp it off with as many clamps as I can possibly see, then pilot all these holes through it. That should work, just to the silver cleco side. Then you've got your, if there's something that's slightly out, I've then got the ability to put everything back in here, should I need it, into the back of these ribs, and then upsize it to the copper clecos. But I think that enables me basically to completely finish this off. So upsize it, deburr it, prime it, and reassemble it back with rivets. That's the way I'm going to approach it. So I'm going to start upsizing now, and I'll come back to you soon. Okay, the Ruddervator is all upsized. Copper clecos went together as expected. Okay, as you can see, I used every cleco but one, so took out the right amount off the structural element of the Ruddervator. Sorry, the Stabilator sitting over there. I can now deburr all this, pull it all apart, deburr it, and prime it. One thing I want to talk about is the underside of the drive horn. Now I did, but you may have remembered I spoke about a snub nose riveter available. So I did happen to buy one. It's not quite snubby nose enough compared to the other one. It certainly is a great deal. Whoops, just pull that out like that. Crash. That's the nose on this one that I've got. I'll just lay the two of them out. You can actually see it's quite a distance. Have a little straight edge. I don't know, it's probably sort of maybe 6 mil. Now it's still a fair distance off, so I really don't know what to do about this yet. You'd have to have a really, really small set of riveters to get right into there. Now there. Hello, I have primed all of the surfaces. There's the control horn up there, the ribs, the Ruddervator skin. Very hard to get into all of these edges up inside here, as you can well appreciate. Yeah, can't sort of get to 100% of it, I guess. And I've just wedged a couple of bits of timber in here to try to hold the skin apart. I had it a bit further than what it shows here. I had it sort of twisted on its edge, and I didn't want to bend it up too much in case it put a ripple along this trailing edge of the Ruddervator skin. Now the hinge, one part of the hinge is here. There's a lot of arguments which I'm not going to get into in this video. There's a lot of arguments for fors and against priming. There's complete aeroplanes out there that have been primed that show signs of deterioration in the skins somewhere along the line, whether it's badly primed to start with or badly mated surfaces, I don't know. And there's other aeroplanes out there that haven't been primed, that go for 40-50 years flying without showing any signs of deterioration in the skins. So it's horses for courses, I guess. I'm going to do it for the little amount it costs for paint. I don't know, it costs $60 or something for 3 cans. It's nothing. I haven't even been through one can yet. And that's the one I'm using there. I saw that from a guy on YouTube who's built 3 aeroplanes. His third one, he's doing it with this, and he has primed an entire aeroplane. He has not primed, and now he's just priming the mating surfaces. So that's what I'll be doing. Show something here. You're going through 3 lots of skin. Well, 2 skins and 1 rivet. And I noticed even when I was drilling these initially, as I was drilling through, it was sort of like putting a lot of force on this and just pushing it in. So I've just ensured that it's pulled right back, because I'm going through 3 layers. It is a very every rivet's an important thing, but it's very important that this obviously operates correctly without any slack. Well, the whole plane is like that anyway, so I'm not really sort of saying let's be remiss in other areas, let's get it right everywhere. But that's all I've done, just to ensure that that doesn't push back, which it... Okay, the dilemma is solved with the rivets, and I don't know why I didn't do this in the first place. Yes, I went to Google. I can't be the first person that's ever come across this, so there's got to be other people out there. So I've searched for a tool, and I've just quickly sketched it out how it is. And I'm going to use my left hand to point. This distance between here and here, this is just side elevation of a tool, so assume this is made out of a piece of, I don't know, 20 by 20, 15 by 15 type of aluminium. It's on an angle here, because this is the face where you're getting into. The shank of the rivet goes down there. You've got enough lever in that to lean it across to keep the top of the rivet down. The gun can then pull on a bit of an angle. There's 4 or 5 different sort of versions of these. This is the one that is pretty much selling. I just googled the price of it. It's about 38 or something like that US dollars. But the shipping to get to me, because they appear to be only available in America, is going to be around about $190. I'm not going to pay $220, $230 for that. I'm going to throw it at some guys that I know that have a metal shop. I'm going to say, hey, can you throw this together for me? And I reckon it'll work. Well, it'll work because I'll be able to make it. Okay, all riveted. No issues with it that I can think of. Obviously, I've left those ones out there until I get my little tool made up. But other than that, I think it's okay. I've just fitted the Ruddervator to the Stabilator. It goes along there without any grinding noises. Had a little bit of difficulty getting the pin in. Obviously it needs a lot of lubrication, or perhaps I'm slightly sort of out a little bit with the placement of the hinge. I'm going to really think about this on the next one, because I don't want to have the same difficulty. So it's in. It sort of works fairly freely. I don't believe it's an issue. There's my finger in the camera. So that's it. I might have an early one now. It's going to thunderstorm. And so see you all next week.